Back in high school, I was a troubled youth. I think he's actually a teacher in Buffalo now. John Hayden, Mr. Hayden.
Yeah.
I was struggling in my senior year, and I'll never forget. He took me in under his wing and said some amazing things. And he just kept reminding me, like, Bo, hey, the choices you make today, they don't need to define you of who you can become. And I had always taken that with me,
I can't wait.
26 years later, and what Mr. Hayden told me, I've probably messaged him over the past and just said, hey, but that's one thing that has always stuck with me since high school was just having that man just realize I was in a low point in my life. I was struggling with addiction and alcohol as a senior in high school, and he looked right past that.
Yeah,
and it was something I'll never forget.
Hey, we're super happy to be back here for the Buffalo Community Podcast. We've got Bo Nelson. You wear a bunch of different hats. You're in here for Buffalo Collision. You're a firefighter. You are actually Wright County Economic Development Citizen of the Year for 2026.
Yeah.
It's a tough one to nail so early, but we've known each other just for a couple months now, and every time I talk to you, man, it's a really kind of an excitement for me just to hear you bring a lot of joy and energy into a space. So I kind of hopefully we can capture some of that in our conversation. So
yeah, absolutely.
So
glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, I might have missed a few titles, but why don't you just kind of back up 30,000 foot view, and how would you introduce yourself to somebody?
Bo Nelson, local guy. I was born here in Buffalo in 1982. Most of my family's from Cokato, so I'm a Wright County boy all around. Graduated from Monticello High School in 2000. Did some computer networking school, ended up in telecom for quite a few years, made my way back to Monticello, married a beautiful Monticello girl, and now we're raising a family here in Monticello and just trying to stay involved. Part of my story is 20 years ago, I gave up drinking, turned my life around, gave my life to Christ, and he put it on my heart to lean into a life of service. So it started with getting involved in my church, kind of taking my hardships and trying to use them for good and helping others get through tough times. And the Lord has just given me so many amazing opportunities here to shine his light. And I've been blessed to be a part of the Monticello Fire Department for about 11 years. I get to provide service and help to our community has been nothing short of a blessing for me and the family. And I've been on the Lions Club in Monticello for a good 10, 15 years, just trying to plug into the community where it matters. And I love Monticello. I love Wright County. I've got the opportunity, being on the fire department, to really get dialed in with the local community, the local sheriff's department. Just a lot of solid people in Wright County, and it's just been a blessing. And it's really cool that the Lord wants to use me to shine a little bit of light.
Yeah, cool.
I spent the last 7 years working for ServPro out of Monticello in restoration. I started as a project manager. Then I kind of morphed into the marketing role. I really love customer service. I love dealing with people. I love making sure, I get an opportunity to come to people's different levels in life and really just try to shine a little light. So working at ServPro in restoration, every phone call we got was somebody's worst day of their life.
Yeah.
They're losing their house, their business, their home. And that right away gave me an opportunity to come in and really be part of that process of helping them rebuild their life and their story. And being able to have the opportunity to pray with people when they're going through tough times has been phenomenal. And it's been a true blessing for me and my family. Same goes on the fire department. I mean, 10, 11 years of coming alongside people in their worst moments and just, sharing a little bit of light with them, saying a little prayer. But, it's really about just showing up and being involved in the community and really, I mean, we're so blessed. We got such an awesome community out here, surrounded by so many good folks. And it's been a fun ride.
You do wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best hat I wear is I get to be a father.
Yeah.
Sure.
I got 3 kiddos and I've gotten to coach so football, baseball, basketball, soccer for the last 20 years in different roles. And that's been one of the highlights of my life, is to really just get involved with the kids and And now I'm really involved in my church, Resurrection Church over in Monticello. I get the opportunity to lead the youth, the middle school and the high school, and and get up and just kind of share our stories. And I had a rough start.
Sure.
I made some poor choices in life, my early days, but the good Lord was willing to use those for His good, and to look back on the past 20 years is an absolute miracle of what I've been able to come through and be a part of.
You know what I really appreciate is when shot you a text and you're like, hey, well, we need to do any preparation here or anything? I say, well, no, it's really just going to be a conversation. And you didn't shy away from the hardships. That was like one of the first things you said, you quit drinking 20 years ago. And that is, you said 20 years tomorrow or?
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And, it's part of your story. And I'm assuming you share that with the kids of just like, everybody's different, but here, your darkest day, there's light ahead light ahead.
Yeah.
Which is refreshing to hear, that there's people sharing that. And, if somebody's out there and they are going through that dark time, just, reach out and maybe raise your hand and, an open opportunity to.
Absolutely. That's the power of it, man. People just need to realize that they're not alone going through their struggles around here. And as long as the hardest part is just asking for help sometimes. But, but just that's part of sharing my story is you give hope to others going through a tough time that, hey, look, if Bo could turn around from what he was going through in his 20s to become, to go from I got to experience a couple weekends in the Wright County facility when I was younger,
I started with the sheriff's department.
It's pretty neat and I was reflecting on that this week, like, wow, in 20 years I went from that to this. It's pretty awesome. And that's nothing that I've done on my own. That's all because I was willing to turn from my old way and let God kind of take over my life.
Sure.
And I had to hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
And the last 20 years haven't been perfectly, just amazingly awesome. Like there's been struggles and hardships, but as long as I'm willing to learn and grow from those and then share that with others, I think is awesome. Like I got the opportunity to help run and lead a recovery group at our church called Celebrate Recovery for the last 18, 19 years. Phenomenal Christ-centered recovery group, just helping folks with their hurts, habits, and hang-ups in life. Anything from overeating to drug addiction and just kind of giving people hope. But after doing that for 19 some plus years, I'm like, maybe we should try to hit these kids before they start making those mistakes. So got a good solid group, youth group that we're just trying it different, and we got to be a little careful on some of the stories that I share with middle schoolers, but at the same time, there's a lot of value in just getting into these kids and letting them know, hey, you got some choices to make coming up, and don't let them define you, but there's always an opportunity to turn away from a poor choice and get something better going.
Yeah. So when you're working with those kids, do you find it hard to pull? Are they to pull, I don't want to say information, but to get them to open up, to say, hey, struggling with this or tempted by this or this or this. Yeah. It's not just you, a kid sitting awkwardly and you saying,
right.
I would imagine it takes some time to build that rapport and the trust.
Yeah. And a lot of it is just sharing our stories from our hardships when I was in middle school. It's something for them to try to relate to. I was a middle schooler once. All I cared about was just being cool. Right, that's what they want to do. I have a 7th grader, just going through it right now. It's it's all about getting that coolness going and trying to impress people. But sometimes
I believe the kids say aura.
Yeah, the aura,
days. Yeah,
and that's
aura,
why I joke.
Riz?
The Riz.
Yeah,
I was born in a puddle of Riz. That's
I'm
going to make my kids watch
too cool for this podcast, man.
I got to try to stay hip with the kids, and that's one joy too of being able to coach these kids over the years. I've had the my middle child is a junior at Monticello High School and had the opportunity to coach and come alongside him for all these past years and build relationships with those kids and the other students in the high school. And it's really great to be able to run into these kids out in the open in the public and have them looking up to you and just to be a light. That's what it's really all about. I'm not here for the awards. I'm not here for this or that. I'm just here because God gave me another chance to try to do it better.
Right.
I've failed miserably so many times, and it's so neat to just see that, God's upper story is,
Right.
is
Yeah.
continuing to work in my life no matter what I'm going through today. And as long as I focus on that, it's been a blessed 20 years, you know?
Well, you said you're not here for the awards, but you might be like here in large part because of an award.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Tyler, you alluded to it in the open. I don't want to try to repeat it. But
Yeah.
the Wright County Citizen of the Year, we'll just call it.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
Tell us about that.
Well, that was quite a surprise.
They didn't just draw your name out of a hat of
No,
Wright County residents, right?
That's what I thought. You know,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Finally.
I've been blessed over the years to get involved in the community, especially working with ServPro before Buffalo Collision, getting involved in the community, getting involved in the chambers, getting involved in networking groups, just working with the local fire departments and the police departments, really just digging into the community and shining a light. And apparently somebody noticed and
Yeah.
Gave you an award.
Gave me an award, which it's phenomenal. It's
Yeah.
so cool. I would have never, I'm more proud of my my 4-time fire department chili champion.
Oh,
awards.
sure.
Nice.
I thought that's really why I was here.
Yeah.
Trying to get my secret
Well,
recipe,
we're going to come
but-
back to that. because
As,
I
as
can
secret
talk chili.
judges,
Yeah.
that
But-
was weighted.
Right.
That
Yeah.
was weighted.
But no, just and I've gotten the opportunity to get involved in the Right Tech Center and the
Yeah.
CEO and just trying to come alongside the kids, right? I feel like that's where God wants me in this season, is to just try to shine some light back to the youth that are about to make that next step into adulthood.
Yeah.
And it's been pretty cool.
Yeah.
The thing that I think about is, I think overall, a lot of people, and I'm just saying, like, in generally speaking, they're like, oh, the kids are always so troubled and all this. They kind of have like a negative thought of where kids are at, and it's probably a generational thing. It happens all the time, but when you're able to kind of get down on their level, you hear a lot of stories of just like, man, kids shouldn't have to go through that.
Oh,
you know, through no fault of their own. Where in some of the same volunteer groups and like, mentoring groups, and just like when you hear some of these stories, I think a lot of people would have a little bit more grace for some of these kids, and just
Absolutely.
when you're called to something like that, and obviously I'm not going to share personal stories on it, but I can feel that connection. I also do some coaching as well, and I think it was after meeting you as well. I changed one of my first speeches of the year of just like, hey, you guys are going to be making some tough decisions here. I mean, they're 7th graders that I'm working with. Yeah. Like, you guys are driving in a couple of short years on the same roads that I drive on. Like, so I'm going to bring you this much respect up here and treat you like an adult. And I expect you to match that because you are so close to like the real world.
Right.
It's a big difference. So
Yeah, and some of it for me too, like I mentioned earlier, is just sharing the stories.
Yeah.
Because I know the kids are struggling as teens. It's hard sometimes to wrap my mind around what they're struggling with compared to what I struggled with in the 90s. We didn't have all this stuff pulling us away.
Yeah.
But there's an opportunity there for me to come in, share some of my hardships in life, just so then when these kids do come up against that mountain, that they know that, hey, I got an opportunity to talk to somebody else who dealt with this.
Yep.
There is hope. I can push through this. You
Yeah.
know?
And so, it maybe is a little bit the long game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to share this with you, and it's not like, okay, I'm going to get vulnerable, and then it's your turn to get vulnerable,
Sure.
right? It's going to be like, I'm going to be vulnerable with you. I'm going to be supportive of you. And this might be something you give immediate response to, or it might be 5 years later, 10 years later, that a kid remembers the conversation he had with you and how willing you were to be there and be vulnerable. And, maybe one of the stories, maybe it does hit right on the head. Bo dealt with this exact same thing.
Yeah. And that's what my buddy Joel and I, when we're up there teaching to the youth, we do like to trickle in a lot of our personal experiences in life because we get it. We've been there. We've made some really poor choices in life, and it's like, well, now God, I understand why I had to go through those, is because now I get to give hope to others, know, and that's where the power comes in, and that's what makes me feel like it's all worth it.
yeah.
Yeah. Like one time, I got home after curfew.
You're
When I was a
totally right.
kid.
Yeah.
Rebel.
That's how bad I was. So kids, I get it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's all different stages in life, right? Like I've noticed, my daughter who's in her 20s compared to my son who's 17, compared to my 14-year-old, whole different eras, and it's a different mindset. But the same thing holds true. I can go in and share my past stories with them to give them hope. And I keep telling my kids, hey, I made all the stupid choices, so you guys don't have to. Hell, you got to learn from me.
I've said that to my kids too many times. The best mistake to learn from is somebody else's.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're going to make a lot of your own. You're going to have a lot of those opportunities to learn from your own mistake. But if you can look at somebody else's mistake and go like, man, put yourself in their shoes. What are they dealing with right now? Right. What are the consequences? Try to feel that pain a little bit so that you can go, right, not going to do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and being willing to give grace to these kids when they do screw up, and being able to put myself back into a 12, 13-year-old mindset and be like, I can relate. I did some of that. Here's some grace. Let's try to learn and grow from this.
Right.
And that's what it's all about. You know. And I think that the world would be a lot better if a lot of us were able to go and share our hardships with the next generation down, just to give them some hope.
Yeah.
But they're all smarter than us, so
right? Exactly. So let's. I want to continue talking about this. I mean, it's great. Again, I'm hoping that this is relaying of like. I hope people can feel this energy through. And if you see Bo out there, go and say hi. I promise you're gonna have a good time. Of just. Again, I'm driven to like your energy, which is awesome. But Buffalo Collision, let's talk about that. What are you doing there?
So I work for Brent Stevens, awesome local guy. I've known him through networking groups over the past several years. I call him a kid still, right? But I had some health issues this last year. I was kind of going through some stuff, and he came alongside me, and we had some conversations, and I was ready to kind of start fresh and new and like a hometown feel. And he was like, hey, I would love to have your energy over here. He's Buffalo Collision. He's owned it for, quite a few years now. He wants to be the local provider. He's a local guy. That's what it's all about. Wants to provide that service for our local community, come alongside them. Phenomenal guy. People come in hardships all the time. It's a tough day. Just like in the last restoration world, I just got in a big car accident. Oh man, So just watching him and his love for the community drew me to him, and he was looking for somebody to help grow his businesses. So he's got a couple shops. He's got one out in Hector, Carlson's Collision, and one up in Wyoming, Minnesota, Leroy's Collision. So he took me on as the marketing business development guy because he was able to, he's by my side, buddy of mine for years, and saw what I was able to do with ServPro. Because with ServPro, when I started in Monticello, we had one franchise. 7 years later, we were up to about 8, and largest in the state. Phenomenal growth. It's so cool to be a part of. Great team, shining some light. But I felt like it was time for me to kind of, step back and start fresh. I had to kind of take care of myself a little bit too, and there's some value in that. It's hard to rest, but I just was drawn to his energy and his love for the community, and I'm like, I would love to be a part of that and help you grow that vision. So I get to be the people guy. I get to be the marketing guy, and just kind of building relationships in the community. We hope nobody needs to use us, right? That's the hope. But we also know the reality of it is we're in Deer Central, Hale Central. There isn't anything we can't do over at Buffalo Collision. We are the one-stop shop here in town. We're offering, we got free loaner cars. We're offering pickup and delivery, which I've never even heard of another company offering. Free pickup and delivery, just because, shops are open 8 to 5. Most people work 8 to 5. It's hard. Nobody wants to take a day off or half a day off to try to get their vehicle over. Well, we're trying to just think outside the box and offer that hometown feel again. So it's been pretty cool. Yeah, it's been 3 months of helping Brent and the crew just kind of try to grow in the right direction, which has been phenomenal. Yeah.
Does Brent talk about his 7th grade baseball coach quite a bit, or no, or... Maybe
he talks about his kiddos are in softball and baseball. So I'm guessing you were his coach?
Yeah.
Oh, this is good stuff.
Yep. So, pretty much everything he is today.
You should take credit.
He kind of,
He works us into every single interview.
I love it. I love it.
Good play baseball.
Yeah. No, that's great. I lost it.
Outside of, your youth group, business development, all of this kind of like, what's your kind of one go-to hobby? I mean, just if you're just going to take some time for you.
It used to be fishing, right? Now it's just hanging out with my wife. Like we love to just travel. We went and bought like hiking shoes and hiking boots, and we went and got even a Wisconsin State Park pass. And we just travel. We'll take off for the weekend and hit state parks. And
that's cool.
Yeah, I was a big fisherman. I love sports, love baseball. I caught all the trophy fish I ever wanted in Minnesota. They're on my wall, so I'm so super thankful for that. But now it's like I'm ready for the beach, and let's land some barracuda or something. But
nice.
It truly is just hanging out with the wife and kids and trying to make the memories. I looking back at my childhood, that's what I remember is my parents. I never showed them the appreciation, of course, right? But now looking back, it was those family vacations and making those memories. So Jody and I are just really trying to plug into the kids while we have 13 and 17, not much time left with them. My oldest, she's out of the house and married, and it goes quick. So that, and I don't really have a lot of time for other hobbies. I try to fill all my space with good, positive things, right? But, some people ask me, like, how do you do so much? It's like, well, I need to do that much. It's all about filling my gaps with the right thing. Like service and coaching. Being able to coach is just such a blessing, Not only do I get to still be out on the field and be next to these kids, but I get to watch my kids and all the kids grow. I mean, that's part of the cool. Some of the coolest stuff is watching the kids on your team grow and go to the next level and just be a part of that. And my goal is to just leave a good impression on these kids for them to continue on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you have somebody that just comes to mind of like, that was kind of my inspiration from a kid, or maybe it was a coach or a mentor or anything like that? Yeah. Do you have somebody that comes to mind?
For sure. So back in high school, I was a troubled youth. I think he's actually a teacher in Buffalo now, John Hayden. Yeah. Mr. Hayden. Yeah. I was struggling in my senior year, and I'll never forget. He took me in under his wing and said some amazing things, and he just kept reminding me, like, Bo, hey, the choices you make today, they don't need to define you of who you can become. And I had always taken that with me,
I can't wait.
26 years later, and what Mr. Hayden told me, I've probably messaged him over the past and just said, hey, but that's one thing that has always stuck with me since high school was just having that man just realize I was in a low point in my life. I was struggling with addiction and alcohol as a senior in high school, and he looked right past that.
Yeah.
And it was something I'll never forget,
So I'm going to give John a shout out and kudos right now too, because every Thursday morning we're a part of a mentor group, and it's for these young middle schoolers. Maybe something's happened in their past or their family life or going through some of these struggles, but he's kind of the head guy of like putting those, making that match of that kid to this mentor. So he's still doing stuff
That's
like
so
that.
cool.
And I know he probably wouldn't say it himself, but again, he's still doing that stuff.
Right. He
and,
probably doesn't want anybody aging him either. Like, hey, 26 years ago.
No, I'm doing the math too. I'm just like, oh, geez, John, you are
that's awesome.
Holy cow.
And that just shows how awesome of a human being he is. That
Yeah,
for him to
he is awesome.
continue to be shining that light is phenomenal. But that is definitely one thing that has always stuck with me. In my darkest days, I always would lean into that statement. Which was phenomenal.
That's awesome.
So,
Cool.
Well, anything else that you want? I mean, we hit a lot of things, and I really hope this isn't our last time with you on the podcast here, because it's great conversation. But is there any final words that you want to tell to all 250,000 of our viewers?
Wow, 250,000?
Yeah.
No, man.
Yeah, we started with 250,000 and we peaked right there.
Right. Yeah. Hey, we all have struggles in life, right? Yeah. We all have an opportunity. We all have an opportunity to shine a little bit of light. Sometimes even in our darkest days, the best thing I've learned to do is just go and shine some light for somebody else. It's been phenomenal. We're all in this together. Our youth are looking up to us. It's opportunity for us to shine. It's a tough world, tough, dark world that we're living in. Our kids are just surrounded by things trying to pull them towards them and away from the true meaning of life. And I think the more opportunities we have to share that light with them is where the real value is, and we can keep this community just thriving.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And if you need auto body repair,
Absolutely. Any auto body repair, Buffalo Collision, Leroy's Collision, Carlson Collision, we got you covered. Free loaner cars, deductible assistance, we got you. And you can come in and just hang out with me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Wonderful.
I'll see you Monday.
Sounds good.
yeah.
For the Buffalo Community Podcast, I'm Tyler Reese.
I'm Mark Benzer.
And I'm Bo Nelson.
Perfect.
Thanks for listening to the Buffalo Community Podcast, produced by Edlin Media. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube, as well as anywhere you listen to podcasts.